websites and rip them apart from an SEO point of view. I'd love to, none of the live people that have just joined have put a website in the chat yet. I'd love to put yours on the screen. Here's your opportunity for me to spend some time on your website and have a look at it. I've got one from Becca. We're going to be having a look at North Sky Yurts. And I've got some others up my sleeve, but it would be good if you fancied yours to be on the screen. So please do let me know. And as I said, thanks for being here. If you've got questions, if there's anything in particular you're wanting to know, what are you wanting to learn today? What are you hoping to get out of this? It would be really good to know. Are any of you currently employing an SEO agency? Have you employed any in the past? Are any of you running any SEO campaigns? What are your experiences with that, good or bad? But what are you hoping to get out of today? You've already looked at mine on a previous call, but feel free to have a go, as I've tweaked it based on your earlier feedback. Great, good. Oh, excellent. So we've got building. So you're all chatting to me in the panelists, so other people can't see, but that's cool. So we'll have a look at, we've got a couple more here. So that's great. Alexis, just remind me your website. I know I've looked at it before, but it'll be interesting just to maybe have it there. Thank you very much. And if there's anyone else that wants, then please do pop it in there. So that didn't copy very well, bear with me. You'll be able to see my screen shortly. So what I wanted to do was just talk to you about the basics of SEO first, just to set the scene, to bring everyone up to the same level. I'm Jonny Ross. Most of you will already know me, so I won't bore you with the story that I normally give. You'll be pleased to know. This is much more of a practical session aimed at businesses looking to get more relevant traffic from Google, individuals who want to understand more about search engine optimization, probably aimed at intermediates, although I'll be trying to bring everyone up to scratch from a from any level. So in fact, let me know what's your what would you say out of 10? Oh, brilliant! We've got another website there. Good. Out of 10, what would you say your SEO level is? 0 being what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization, and 10 being I'm a guru at SEO. Where would you say you are? So that would be good. And then, yeah, I'll try and bring up the beginners but there is lots of jargon, I'm afraid. We'll see what we can do. What are your websites built in, by the way? So are they WordPress? Are they Shopify? What are Wix? Okay, what are your websites built in? We've got a few more websites coming up here. Great. I'll just add these to the mix. So we've got, and it looks like we've got a sort of a mixture of 7s and 3s, 4s. Okay, and Wix, WordPress, mixture of Wix and WordPress. Okay, cool. Just bring that website up. So it's probably not going to reach the advanced in here, but it doesn't look like we're too far at that level, but hopefully a good reminder. Although, if you want to take me up a step on SEO, it's my subject and it's my passionate area. So please feel free to ask a tough question on search engine optimization. Just going to make my sound a bit better. Just realized it wasn't using my correct microphone. Hopefully that's a bit better now. We've got another 4 in. Okay. So quick overview of web traffic, just to, as I said, bring everyone up to the same speed. So we've got organic traffic, which is what you found, what you see in Google when someone does a search and they find you in Google. That's classed as organic traffic. If they click the link, get to your website, classed as organic traffic. Paid traffic, where you've got the adverts at the top of Google, and that's a sponsored ad. It's a pay-per-click Google AdWords. Someone clicks that, it's classed as paid. Display traffic is where you've got, maybe you go onto the Jet2 website, and then every website you go to, there's a Jet2 advert. So that's remarketing, but it's with a pictorial advert, and those pictorial adverts are called display. So if someone was to click through on that, it would be classed as display
traffic. You've got social media traffic, so that's from Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Email traffic from things like MailChimp, Campaign Monitor. Referral traffic, that's from other websites. So maybe you've got a link on someone else's website, great for SEO purposes. If you can get a link from somewhere else, the better the link, the more trustworthy the link, the better. So if I'm a solicitor and I've got a link from the Law Society, that would be a really good link. If someone clicked that link on the Law Society's website, got to my website, that would be classed as referral traffic. And then of course we've got direct traffic, where they type your exact address into the address bar and they get to you, and that would be classed as direct traffic. So they get totally to you straight away. So if we then have a look at search engine optimization, so what is it? Well, it's great content. The better the content, the more the search engine likes it. We want to make sure that it's accessible to the search engines. We're going to be covering a lot of that today. We're going to be looking at how the search engines look at websites, making the pages unique and relevant across the site, making them popular. Anything that's popular, Google typically wants to rank. And this is about good PR as well. So, it's traditional PR, but online. And there's two sides to search engine optimization. You've got the website itself, and then you've got the off-site, which is everything around the World Wide Web. So on site, we're talking about the keywords, the content, the technical aspect, the usability. If I'm using a mobile phone, Google knows that I'm using a mobile phone, and that and if your website doesn't work well on a mobile phone, then it's not going to rank it well within Google. We're going to be focusing very much on the on-site side of things today, the technical aspect, and then the off-site side of things is everything that's going on around the World Wide Web, talking about your website, linking to your website. So the link from the Law Society, is it trustworthy? Is it relevant? What are the reviews that you've got? What's the reputation you've got? All that stuff that's talking about you and linking to you. And that's what that PR is all about. So good PR, traditional PR, but online is what off-site SEO is all about. So if we're thinking keywords, because that's one of the fundamental things to on-site SEO, if we want to be found for a particular word, then we've got to have that word in our content. So some of you may have heard this story, but just to help everyone from a keyword point of view, an example here, we were approached by a company in the States many years ago asking to be at the top of Google for gift ideas. It was going to be very expensive to get to the top of Google for gift ideas. You could see why they wanted to. There's 5 million global searches per month, 3.3 million US searches per month for gift ideas. But we said to them, look, people that are Googling gift ideas with nothing else, just that phrase, probably have no idea what they're looking for at that stage. And the chances of them buying and converting at that stage is probably not very high. So could we have a look at some deeper keywords that are a bit easier? So we looked at a lot deeper, but just to give you the example, retirement gift ideas for women, only 1,000 monthly searches in the US, but we could easily rank for it. It would take very little effort to rank for that. Very niche topic, but if we could provide a page that had retirement gift ideas for women on it, and we could rank for it, then the conversion would be very high. The cost of getting there very low, the conversion very high. So that's the sort of way to think about this, I think. There's lots of different ways to come up with keywords. Just start typing them into Google. And in fact, I'd quite like to know, what are the keywords that you want to be found for in Google? So if you just want to throw in the chat what you think would be the things that you want to be found for in Google, that might help me a bit later on in this session. There's loads of different ideas on link building. You'll get a copy of these slides afterwards. You can pause this, rewind it, and go through everything that's on that slide. But if you're wanting to get a bit more help on the off-site side of things, then this is the slide to have a look at. Lots of different ideas here on how to come up with ideas for links to your website. But we're not going to be focusing on that today. We're going to be focusing more on the on-site side of things. And then also, if you're looking for types of content, then this is a great slide to get a good idea of all the different types of content that you could be producing to get links, to get keywords across your website. Lots and lots of different ideas here. And then places to share that content. So again, as I said, don't worry, because you've registered to this webinar, I've got your email address. I'll send you this as a video afterwards, so you'll be able to get it again. But here's a load of places that you could share that content. So here you've got the content, lots of different ideas, and here are places that you could share the content across different channels, different places, even in your email signature. You know, who thinks of that? And there's lots of different ideas. Thanks for putting some keywords in there. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to do a new share, should I say, and we'll go on to desktop one. Okay. So I've just loaded up a few sites here. Got 4, which is a brilliant number for me. So thank you. Just let me get the chat box so I can still see you all. So hopefully you can see my screen. You can see a school postcards website. Just want to check. Just put a yes in the chat if that's the case. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, so where do we start? Well, there's loads and loads of different things that we could look at. And this, what I'm about to do now, is sort of what I do pretty much all day, every day. I'm forever looking at different websites and doing what I call a search engine optimization audit on the website. And just straight away, there's a little thing jumping out at me. And what search engine optimization is all about is as well as the things I've said, it's about, you know, it's about I've said this in the slides, the usability. And so I'm always thinking of what things look like, how easy they are to use, and therefore what does Google think of them? And there's just one obvious thing missing straight away from the event yurt hire website, the North Sky Yurts one. We've not got what we call a favicon, a fave icon. And what that does is it tells the browser what to show as the icon in the browser. And one of the reasons for this is because Google is starting to use those icons across its search pages as well. So it's just a quick obvious thing that I've spotted there, and that would be, and what I'm trying to do is there's about 200 things that add up to good SEO. And if you were to Google the 200 what's the word 200 points for good search engine optimization, I'm pretty sure you'll find a number of blogs that talk about it. All of these things could be classed as quite small, but they all add up. And so what I'm trying to do is tick as many boxes as possible on the website. So here we've got that missing icon there. So if I just have a quick look at the 3 sites, this is pretty much the first time I've looked at these sites, except I think you, Alexis, you said I've looked at this before. So was it Alexis? Yeah. And Becca gave me this site about a week ago, which I have not been on. I quite like to just come fresh and just have a look and just throw myself in the deep end. I don't like preparation. But yeah, nice and colorful. Let's just give you my quick thoughts. Nice and colorful. Really like the email address. Say hello. Like this usage here. I think that's really good. I'm just going to move this 1 second. Sorry. Just 1 sec. Oops. Okay. Let's have a look at this one. So we've got a pop-up. Is that good or bad? I can't decide. So does that happen straight away when I get there? So we've got the cookie, which is fine. Yeah, so it happens. Does it happen too quickly? And I sort of think, you know, I've not had a chance to have a look at the website, and so I'll instantly, you know, like go away. So I think that could be happening too quickly. I have a love-hate relationship with pop-ups. I think they're brilliant. But my concern here is Google will think the same, by the way, is that I've got to the website, there's a pop-up within a few seconds. You know, my concern is how does that work on mobile? And in fact, we could have a look at that just to show you some of the things that we do. So if I went to this browser here, this is Chrome. I'm a massive fan of Firefox. What you tend to find is sort of techie developer type, SEO type people use things like Firefox more. But if I take it over to Chrome, then I can go to developer tools, and then put it into mobile. Oops. Now, I don't know if that's true how it appears in mobile, but it's suggesting that the pop-up's not showing correctly. I don't know if it is that bad in mobile, but that would be a question for me. And then nice, looks very nice. I do remember Alexis. But yeah, certainly from a look point of view, these are nice sites. Just wondering what's missing on the callers here. There's an icon missing. What happened then? So I'm just wondering why that happened. Did you see that? I'll just refresh the page. Not sure what happened. Something happened. So initially, we just have a look and just see what things look like initially. So then the next thing that we could look at is the what we call the H1. So the H1 is the title. If I go to a Word document quickly, so I'll just bring up a Word document. What you'll see is that in Word you can have headlines, paragraphs, subheadings, all sorts of different things, and you'll see why it's called a H1. So if I just go into a new document here, and we put, this is the title, subheading. This is the title. It's not working, is it? Here we go. And then if we select that, just make this a bit bigger, we can see here that it's got H1, heading 1. So we can click that, and then it sets a particular typeface and a particular size, and we can do that. We can set the same for heading 2. Now the browsers work the same way, so a bit of code behind the website, sorry, tells the browser how to show a heading or how to show a subheading in a particular typeface, particular size, particular color. And Google uses that code that's behind the website to understand what that page is all about. So here, what I'm wanting to see is, are there any heading tags on the page? So I've got a bit of code here, and if anyone wants this, if they just email me afterwards, I can share this with you. But it basically, save it as a bookmark, and you click it once, and what it does is it then highlights on the page the heading tags. So it makes it a lot easier from an SEO point of view. So here I can see there's a H2 here, H1 lower down, H3, H2s, H3. So if I just do that with each one, just need to bring this down a bit because of my screen size. There we go. Oh, go away. Zoom keeps coming and playing, that's all. So if I just do that on each of these websites. So basically what we're saying to Google is this page here is building our skills, making, can I read that? Fenestration. What the hell is fenestration? A career of choice. I obviously need to read this site more. Fenestration. So that, but I mean, it looks like that should be your H1, so that's fine. Here, your H1, well, that's on the pop-ups. Let's get rid of the pop-up and let's just check your H1 on this page. So the H1 is North Sky Yurts, Yurt Hire in Yorkshire. That looks good because that's, I'm guessing, one of your keywords, key phrases that you wanted to get across. Here, we've got the H1 uniquely different interior design. That looks like a good start. And then, but what I'm seeing here is we don't have a H, or we do have a H1, but it's down here. All our ideas are built around your learning and development objectives. Now, I'm guessing that I'm not sure what your keywords are here, so I'm just going to have a quick look. I think they are design for schools, school logos, school character. Have I got the right person? Designed to engage pupils in learning. So I'd be thinking about, where, if those are the keywords, and it looks like this is the title, why is this set as the H1 is the sort of thing I'd be potentially thinking about. So if we have a look at, so that's what we call the H1s. And then what we could do is we could go deeper into the site. So, if we go into here, we go into weddings, and then we have a look at, so here we've got your wedding hire as the URL. Let's have a look at what the meta title is, or sorry, the H1. So am I on the weddings page? Yes, I am. but H1 weddings in Yorkshire. Okay, no, that's good. Yeah, it's strange that that's the H2, but it doesn't matter actually at all, and that's fine. And so that's good. And we're always wanting one, by the way. So every page should only ever have one H1. And that's something that's really important. So one of the next things that we could do is we could just get a top overview of what Google can see. So if I take this website here and I go to Google, I can do something called site search. If I just make this a bit bigger, here we can do site colon and then the website. Okay, site colon and then the website. What that does, so Bradley's just asking what H1 and Catherine's just asking how do I change it. So depending on whether I'm working from home, sorry about the background noise. So depending on what your website's built in, there's lots of different answers on how to change the H1. You may be able to, just like in a Word document, literally select the text, and then above you may well be able to change. There might be a paragraph drop down, and in that paragraph drop down you might be able to change it to the correct heading. Every website is different, and what's difficult in this session is to tell you how to fix things. Not that I'm trying to hide it, but every website is different, and it's at this point that I actually suggest for you it's about understanding the strategy. It's about understanding what's right and what's wrong, knowing what Google likes, knowing what should be in place, and then turning around to a developer and saying, "Can you do this, please?" Because a painter and decorator can show me how to wallpaper, how to paint the walls. Am I going to do as good a job as them? No, I'm not. I'd rather be out selling and doing what I do best. My advice is get a developer. I'm not trying to avoid the question. It's just difficult to give you a proper answer. Catherine's asked, will that change the style of the text throughout the site? Will it change the style of the text? And the answer is yes, it can. And that's why, again, you need to potentially get a developer involved. But what you've got to consider is, what are you telling Google the H1 is? And that's the first thing that Google looks at. It looks at the page, and it looks at the URL. It looks at the heading tags and the meta tags, and we're going to go into what those things are as well. But it's one of the first things it looks at to see what is that page. So if we have a look, I've done this a site colon search, and in fact Bradley was saying what is a H1. You might have missed that a bit earlier when I was just showing you. Hopefully I've answered that in the Word document. Here I've done a site search, put the URL. What that does is it shows me every single page inside Google that is indexed inside Google. So here we can see that there's 15 results. Here's the pages. So you might want to take your own website. I'll take this one and do that as well. And so if I can just do it in the top bar here, and here it shows me 73 pages, and you can then have a look through these. Now this is more of a trained eye that's able to sort of look at this, and so I look at this and this jumps out at me. I'm wondering what that is. So if I just open that in another tab and see what that is jumping out. So why have we got that page on the website? I'm still wondering, why have we got that page on the website? I can't believe that you want that page on the website, but I might be wrong. So if I just go back to the North Yurts one and just see if anything jumps out, and as I said, it's a bit of a trained eye here, but nothing jumps out too much there. What's this one? So that's a broken page. So you see, it's a very trained eye, So I'm wondering why there's a broken page, what that page is. We may as well delete it. Google doesn't want to see errors. If it sees errors, it starts not trusting the website. What we want to do is have an error-free site where Google loves it and trusts it and doesn't question it. Here we've got, I'm guessing that's another image page. It might be that we've got, and what are these pages? Just want to have a look at this. It might be that there's a plugin called Yoast on WordPress sites, and it could be that you've got something ticked that says create pages for images, but you don't want that. And that's not helpful. So because you end up creating lots of these pages that are just dead pages. That's the same one though, isn't it? Was that the one I clicked on in the first? Maybe it was the first. No, because it was up here. Why is it there twice? So that's strange. So I'd want to dig into why it's there twice. This quote page, you know, again, trained eye. I clicked it. It's a dead page. Now, this is an interesting one. If I got to that page, I've seen some bad 404 pages. This is in the high list because I wouldn't know that's your website. So I've got to this page. Where's the menu? Where's the branding? And what I'd like to see, and let's have a look at how the rest of you deal with that. So if I just put some fake text at the end of here, whoops, and the yurt. So we've got, so not bad, but not great. This, I don't like this. You know, I'd like to see some fun branding, you know, whoops, awful. Don't take it personally. Okay, so this is the best of the bunch. Yeah, I like the wording. Whilst we fix this problem, yeah, this one wins. We've got the menu. So the 404 page, again, Google does look at this sort of stuff, and you've got to think of the how user friendly it is. So that's something else that we would look at. If I go back to have a look at some of these, so it looks like, again, we've got lots of image pages across the site, but I guess we don't need that page. We've got, yeah, so lots of image pages there. Now, the other thing that we can do is we could do this a different way. So if I took, I need to remind myself what websites I've got here. So I've got 15 pages on that one, and then school. Did I look at how many pages on there? So what I can do is I can take a tool called Screaming Frog. And what Screaming Frog does is it acts as a spider or a robot, whatever you want to call it. It acts as Google, and it goes to the website, and it crawls all the pages. Now, this is a free tool up to, I think, it's either 100 pages or 500 pages. And it's maybe 150 quid a year for anything more than that. I'm not suggesting you need it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, if you wanted me to run your website in Screaming Frog, I wouldn't mind. But of course, then you'd need help understanding it and analyzing it. But what this does is it basically turns your website into a spreadsheet. So some of the things that we've been looking at so far, so here I can see that there's 462 pages. I'm just at the bottom of the screen here. I can put this into alphabetical order. So a lot of them are images, but there's also blogs as well. So I can see there's quite a few blogs on here, projects, etc., etc. What it does is it also helps me from a sort of high up point of view, have a look at the H1s on the page. So here it pulls out the H1 data. It also pulls out the meta titles and the meta descriptions. Now, these meta titles and meta descriptions are one of the top 3 things that Google looks at when it gets to the website. So here I'm on your homepage. Behind the code, so if we look at the code, there will be somewhere, here it is here, that shows you the meta title. And there'll be somewhere that shows you the meta description, and that's there. Again, I've got a little tool that makes that a lot easier. So there's the Screaming Frog tool where it pulls the data out, but there's also this tool here that I've got. If I click that, you can Google this and get this as a bookmark yourself. And what that does is it gives me the meta title and the meta description. And Google looks at this to see what you're telling Google the page is about. So the title of the page. And here it's saying what a description of the page. Now, if Google trusts you, at least 50% of the time, it will use this data. So if I do a search for school postcards, let's see if your site comes up. So no. So we need to do some good SEO here. So it does appear, but it appears Amazon's trying to sell me something. It appears probably in about position 30. I've got 100 to a page. It's probably in about position 30. But the one thing I wanted to show you though is that the text that it's using here in at least 50% of the time will be the text that you've told it is the meta title and the meta description. So you get the opportunity to write the content, to write the advert that's shown on Google's homepage. Here's Google's page. We've done a search. You get the ability to write the content of that advert. And that's controlled by the meta title and the meta description. So here I go to the page, I can have a look at the code, or I can use this tool, or I can use the Screaming Frog tool. It pulls out and it is the same content. We can see that here. And I can do an overview and have a look at all of that. So here I've got the page titles. If I go to all links, I've got so if we look at the home page here, the top one, we've got the title, got the description, we've got the H1 of the page. And what we're really wanting to do is have unique across the site. You don't have to have unique H1s, but you do have to have unique meta descriptions and meta titles. So these have to be fully unique. And what we're looking for is some consistency. So if I go to a deeper page and I go to our creativity, categories creativity, that's a blog, I'm guessing. Let's go to something else. What are these? Yeah, okay, so go to this one. Designed to promote SMSC. So here we can see that the title is How Schools Can Help SMSC and SC. Here, tips on how to, I'm guessing that talks about SMSC in the description. And we've got the H1. I'm guessing that talks about the SMSC. So that's what we're looking for. Have we got that consistency? We can open it in the browser just to double check. So here we've got the, we've got the SMSC. Is it a blog? There it is there. If I look at the meta title and the meta description, we've got that. Yeah. So that's all linking really well together. And what we're trying to do is make sure that across our website, we've got that going on. Yeah, it's a blog. So, and that pop-up's come back. So if I go into the weddings, we've got the sort of wedding in the URL, we've got weddings here and in the H1. And then if I look at the meta title and meta description, let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got your weddings, and does that talk about weddings in there? So let's just have a quick look. I would assume it does. So in the find description, whoops. Ooh, so that's interesting. Does that actually have a meta description? I'm curious if it does. I don't think it has an official description actually. And I think that the tools just pick that up. So that's just something that I'd have a look at as well. Don't know where that's pulling that from. I need to check on that. So I know I'm sort of going all around here, but this is what SEO is about. And it's just trying to sort of look at all the technical different parts. And of course, I'm doing this across a number of different websites as well. And I'm hoping that you're sort of picking things up as we go. But just to recap, one of the things to do is to bring your site up in Google to help you sort of see what's there. And it gives you a bit of a benchmark. Now, I'm not being funny, but if you want to, it's not about numbers, but at the same time, if you take a competitor and have a look at how many pages they've got, that can really give you a bit of a story as well. So if I take wedding yurts, I can't even spell it, can I? Yurts, there we go. Oh, I can't spell wedding. There we go. Oops. Wedding yurts. So if I take, could be a competitor, if I take this one here as an example, and I just get rid of weddings, but take their URL, do a site colon search one. So here I can see straight away 276 pages. So one of the, just if you're comparing against others and we look at numbers, we think, okay, well, it's not about just numbers, it's about high quality content, but Google's got 276 pages to play with there compared to 15. So it's just things like that to consider as well. Now then, let me just take a step up a tiny bit. So I asked for what keywords do you want to be found for. Lynn, and I think, did you give me your website and have I gone to it? Oh, no, I didn't. Scandinavian Homes. I apologize. I remember seeing it, but I didn't go to it. Do apologize. Let's just bring that up as well. No, that didn't copy. So because one of the keywords that you want to be found for is Scandinavian Homes. Where's it gone? Log homes. That was it. Self-build homes. Okay. So I just want to take this as an example. So if I go to Google and I Google self-build homes, that's a keyword that Lynn would like to be found for. Her current website is this one here, Scandinavian Homes. And what I want to do is have a look at how difficult or easy that might be to rank for in Google. And I'm just waiting for a few things to load. So here we go. So on Chrome, I've added the Moz bar. This Moz, I don't know if you've heard of Moz. This is Moz. If you just go to moz.com, they're the biggest search engine optimization platform in the world, I'd say. If you go back many years, I think they were a bit in bed with Google. They have something called domain authority. And domain authority is a score out of 100. And what that score is ultimately what Google thinks of you. It's not the be all and end all, but it certainly gives you a very good indication of what Google thinks of you. And you can do up to 10 free searches a month on Moz. So you can put competitors in there. And the thing that you can do is have a look at how you rank against competitors. So, what's their domain authority score? Now, to give you some idea, the average domain authority is actually only about 25 out of 100. So don't be too panicked when you see your score and if you think it's low. And to get from sort of 10 to 25 isn't too difficult. But to get from 25 to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 actually is really difficult. So the higher up you go, the more difficult it is. And if you're sort of above 50, you're doing extremely well, by the way. The average is 25. So, but what I can do here is with the Moz bar and without a paid subscription, I can Google something. And as I scroll down, forget the adverts at the top here, you can see the ad. As I scroll down, it adds this black bar. And what it does is it tells me the domain authority of these websites. So here we've got a domain authority of 48, 62, 42, 28. Now, if I was to quickly try and find the domain authority of yours, then hopefully that will come up. Just give it a moment to load. So we've got a domain authority of 14. So if I have a look at self-build homes, the keyword self-build homes, and I've got 10 to a page here, the lowest on the page, 28, 31, 26, 58, 18, okay, 28. So we've got quite a bit of a way to go at 14 if we're wanting to make any headway onto that page. So that gives us an idea of the competition. I've got another tool here called SEO Quake, which is sitting here. And what that does, it adds this bar here and brings in data from SEMrush, another tool, and SEO Quake. And SEMrush is sort of Moz's competitor. So that's what SEMrush looks like. And what you could do with SEMrush is you could do a month trial. And I'm not suggesting paying for SEMrush, but you could do a month trial and export a load of data from them. Don't tell them I said that. But SEMrush have a similar thing, and they have domain score. What you'll see is that you need to triangulate everything with Google, with search engine optimization, because Moz will say one thing, SEMrush will say another. But what you need to do what you could do is you could have a look at both just to get a better feel for things. So I'm just trying to show you some of the tools that I use as well. So I've got these tools running. I then identify a keyword that I want to appear for, and it also gives me this keyword difficulty as well, and that comes from the SEO Quake. And so that again helps me understand whether a keyword might be difficult or easy. Have we got any questions so far? I know that we've only got about 17 minutes left, but anyone got any questions so far? I'm just trying to cover, quite a few different things really. Okay, so I shall carry on. So one of the things that I would want to look at is how you handle the wrong case. So if I go onto all of your websites, and I'm going to put a capital P there and see what happens. And on the year one, I'm going to do a capital W. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's go into the services, put a capital S, whoops. So I'll put a capital S there. And in the schools, let's go into the our work, put a capital K. And then we've got Lynn's as well now. So I'll go into a case study. So you can see we've got 3 errors happening there. Is that good or bad? It's a good question. So this one works. My next question is, if I have a look at the code, what are we telling Google? So the good news is that we're telling Google that it should be a lowercase p, because we're using what's called a canonical tag to say to Google, yep, you can get to this page, but it should have a lowercase p. And the reason I mention this, I don't know if you're familiar with bit.ly links or short links, but you'll find that in bit.ly links and short links, you've got capitals and lowercase. Google does not know the difference between lowercase and uppercase. It sees it as 2 separate things. That's how the World Wide Web works. So in fact, what happens is, if you don't have this canonical in place, or you don't throw an error, which these 3 are, which we'll come on to in a minute, then what happens is Google sees it as duplicate content and actually thinks you're trying to trick the system by showing 2 pages for the same content. Now, this one's not, because it's saying you can come to us, but here's the canonical tag. You're taking people to the wrong page. My concern with that is that people are people. Human beings make mistakes. So the issue we've got here is that if someone just types this and puts a capital in, they get to a broken page. So the best thing to do here is to allow that error to happen, but canonical it to the correct page. Now you might say, well, how the hell do I do this? And I just bring it back to good SEO is understanding it, having the strategy behind it, knowing what's right and wrong, and then turn around to a developer and saying, implement this. That's if you want good SEO. So that's what I'd say to this one. Likewise with VAR Heritage, if just by putting a capital letter there, it breaks it. Wow, that one took me to an IP address. What the? Wow. Imagine someone literally just makes a mistake. Go to school postcodes and go to if you want the contact us page, it's just /contact, as an example. So I'll put /contact. Wow. And then Scandinavian works. Has it got the canonical? So it has, but what's worse? And Catherine's asking, how do I stop that? But I keep referring back to ask a developer. Sorry. I just wouldn't know how to do that right now. Every website's different. Literally. What's worse here, Lynn, is we're saying to Google that the capital is right. So we're reinforcing that it's a duplicate page. We're reinforcing and saying, yes, but guess what? If I put a capital A, it's now going to tell me that there's a 3rd page. You can see that's gone up, and that shouldn't go up. So there's a problem with how that's been implemented. And all we're actually doing there is saying to Google, there's like 50 pages just within that, or however many the maths takes us to. Okay, let's look at something else. Whilst I was Googling, I noticed, if I just go back to here, self-build homes. Yeah, this is really important to just bear in mind. Just excuse me one sec. So this people also ask, these may, and I can see there's another question there from Becca. I'll come back to you. These people that also ask, these make great blog topics and great things to think about having on your website. And as you open these pages, you can see there's 4. As you open them, it shows you more. So as I open, it shows you more. My advice is to think of keywords that you want to be found for, type them into Google, have a look at the people also ask, open and close them, and grab them all. And if they're relevant, start using them across your website and create FAQs on the pages of your website. So I'm going to go really technical now, if you didn't think this was technical. So there's something called FAQ schema. Schema is, let me just try and summarize what schema is. So if I do a search for a chicken pasta, it's dinner time soon. As we scroll down the page, we'll see that here we've got the star rating, we've got an hour, and we've got 479 calories. Likewise, here we've got some data. Now, the only reason that data is there is because these websites are using something called schema to tell Google what this is all about. And Google's then pulling that data out and showing it on here. It's a bit like if I was to do a search for a receptionist job in Leeds, you'll see this panel that comes up. This panel is using schema from people's websites to pull jobs in. So if you've got a website and you ever want to put a job vacancy on there, you should be using schema on the job vacancy, which says, look, Google, this is a job. This is the job title. This is the amount, the salary. The same happens for events. There's event schema. The same happens for products. If you sell products, if you're e-commerce, there's e-commerce schema. What's the selling price, the product name, the color, the description, is it on sale, is it in stock? All of that can be handed on a plate to Google to say, look, this is officially whatever. There's loads of different types of schema. If you're a lawyer, there's legal service schema. If you're a dentist, there's dentistry schema. There's so many different types of schema. Why was I bringing this up? I was bringing this up because of FAQ schema, because we can all use FAQ schema. So my advice is to go to your service pages or your deeper pages. So here it might be the campaigns pages or the academies pages. On this one, it might be going to sort of, maybe the portfolio pages or the I know you've got FAQs here, but what I'm looking for is FAQs on the page. That's what Google's come out and categorically said. If you go into this and start reading about it, you'll see that what Google said is they would like unique FAQs across the website on relevant pages, and they want them marked up using schema. How you do it? Get a developer. Go to schema.org, try and do it yourself, get confused, get a developer. So I am being a bit flippant, but the principle is that you take one of your service pages or product pages, you add 3 or 4 FAQs onto it. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. You say to Google, this is an official question, this is an official answer. It must be unique across every single page that you use them on. So on service A, you've got questions 1 to 3. On service B, you've got questions 4 to 6. And what that does is it helps populate this area here. So these questions here, my throat is going. Sorry, I have literally not stopped talking all day today. It's been one of those days. Sorry, guys. So one of the things that populates this area here is by using FAQ schema. And as I said, it just simply says to Google, this is an official question. This is an official answer. Becca was asking how to add more pages without overloading the site. Is it through blogs? Yeah, don't add pages for the sake of adding pages. But if, so it's about having unique and relevant and compelling content. And absolutely, blogging is certainly one of the ways to increase content on a website. And it's about thinking about what are the typical things people are asking. How can I add value, whether that be humor, whether it be thought leadership, and how can I get more keywords across my website? And the answer is in really good, high quality content. And that is through something like blogging. I would definitely agree. And that's definitely a way to increase the number of pages across a website. What you could also do is come up with a bigger list of keywords, think about all the different phrases, different ways people might ask. Like I said, with gift ideas right at the start, we came up with that niche one, retirement gift ideas for women. Well, to get there, we had like 1,000 other keywords. So I would say to all of you that you could come up with a huge list of keywords. I'm talking hundreds, if not thousands of keywords. And once you've come up with that list, it's then thinking of having some sort of content strategy, over a year. It doesn't have to be over a day or a month or a week even. Over a year, you think, okay, well, how could I cover that keyword? How could I cover that keyword? And it's about creating more and more pages, not just for the sake of it, but if you think that your service or product could be talked about in a very different way, but in a different language, because other people talk about it using these words or these phrases, then that would be a good reason to create a new page for it. So I don't know if you've got any questions so far. I just want to show you just a couple of other things quickly. So one of the things that is also important is having a look. Didn't type that very well, did I? Is having a look at what other websites are on a server. So we can do that. I always get confused because one of these tools has stopped working. Just let me pop the Scandinavian homes into there. I have a feeling this isn't going to show us lots. Once I've just put it on. That's definitely not working. Right. Oh, that's only showing 3. I've picked this one on purpose because I just have a feeling. That's not helpful. Just see if there's one more. What I'm looking at is where the website's hosted. That's the website there. That's the URL there, isn't it? Let's just see if this one shows us a bit more detail. What I'm looking for is where the website is hosted, and what I'm looking for is what other websites are on the server. Because Google looks at the network, it looks at the trustworthiness of the other websites on the server, and it puts us in a in this network, and this to some extent comes down to how much you spend on hosting, and so that's not going to work. But I apologize, I haven't got the right tool up for this, but I'm confident that there's probably over 1,000 or more websites on this server. And you can just see from the first 3, just with numbers in the title, that there's probably a lot of spam and a lot of crap on that server. And I think all I'm trying to get across here is that Google can see this data, and it's worth spending a bit of money on having decent hosting. Just lastly, I can see the time. So lastly, just another couple of tools to look at, which I would suggest. One called GT Metrics. So for the speed of your site, that's something that's really important. So there's 2 that you could look at. Page speed. So there's GT Metrics, this one, and it's a free tool. And there's Google's own page speed insights. So there's GT Metrics and Google's own page speed insights. If you drop your URL into there, it tells you how fast your website is. What you're looking for is an absolute maximum of 5 seconds, ideally 3 seconds. And probably most of your sites are more than that. So that would be an ideal to try and get below 5. Really below 3 is the optimum. So those are a couple of tools that you can look at. This gives you a score out of Google's gives you a score out of 100. What you're looking for there is to get into the sort of 70 or more out of 100 from a page speed point of view on desktop and on mobile. And the last tool to show you is the Google's mobile friendly tool. So this is a tool that you can put your website into, and this will tell you whether Google sees it as a mobile friendly website or not. So I can't believe how the time has flown. Ridiculous. Let me just bring something up to share with you. We'll bring this up quickly. So wrong one. Stop share. Sorry. One sec. Because I'm just going to show you a couple of other things around Schema. Here it is. Okay. So let's just fast forward. So I just wanted to definitely get across the different types of Schema, which is here. So the things that you could think about, you could mark up reviews on your website. You could mark up your logo. You could mark up your address using local business Schema. If you've got e-commerce products, you can mark up products, as I said. If you've got events, you can mark up events, recipes, jobs. If you've got news content, you can mark up news content. And the big one was the FAQs, and that's really important. Time has flown. There's loads more webinars. If you know me well enough, you'll know that you can ask more questions afterwards. Just email me. I've really just touched the surface today, but tried to give you just some things to think about and some of the things that Google's looking at. You can check out my podcast for more. There's a Facebook group if you want to be inspired and you're wanting to network with other people. If you want to challenge me and think this is a load of nonsense, please do, but you can contact me on all this on those contact points there. The main thing is thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing your time with me. I hope it's been helpful and given you a bit of an insight. If you wanted me, I don't mind running a free SEO audit on your website. I can send you a report. If you want to just email me or LinkedIn me your web URL, I will send you a very detailed report, totally free of charge. No quibble. What's the word? No strings attached. So if you want that, then please send me it, and I'll produce you a very detailed report. And it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks again. And once I close this, it's going to take you to a questionnaire. Fill it out. In fact, even use that to say you want a report. I don't mind, whatever's easiest for you. But thanks so much for being with me, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see you all soon. Take care. Thanks again. Bye-bye.